Do 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 do. Do you know about the confirmation email that was found where the teachers union was was had a back channel access to the FBI, and they were having the FBI watching upset parents that were coming to school board meetings that were disruptive and wagging their finger and yelling at these people that are teaching, just filth and nonsense to their kids. Also, too, and I don't care about politics. I could not care less about politics, yeah? Really, somebody high up, I won't mention that person's name, but you could probably guess. And they said, it could have been somebody right at the top, guess who? Said that when these kids are in school, that these kids are, he didn't use the word property, but he basically said property of the teachers. Like, no, they're not. They're not property. They're always the sole property of the parents. See, that sort of, as somebody that lived in the Soviet Union for quite a while, бывший русско-английский переводчик, former Russian-English translator, I know what that sort of, the children don't belong to you, mom and pop, they belong to the state. I know exactly about that mentality. I know a lot about it. Yes, I do. The kids aren't yours, they belong to the state. Oh, really? I can't remember all the countries where homeschooling is considered or is not allowed. I think Germany is one of them. There's all sorts of places. And it's just so unbelievably evil. I mean, it really is. It's not my opinion. Well, that's your opinion. No, it's evil. It's just flat out evil. Now, it's important that we have, contributing members of society. They can actually do things and build things and know how to read and write and do simple math. That's important, obviously, so. But I know a lot of homeschooled people, and these are the most intelligent, well-adjusted people that you'll come across. I had a conversation with an incredibly intelligent person today that has an inside line. And it's not, not talking about radical places like in California or Illinois or New York or New Jersey. Talking about a particular city which is not that big, even here in Kentucky. And one of the stories is that the school bus administrator who'd been working forever, he wanted to retire. It's like, no, you're doing such a great job. They upped his wages and they gave him more days off. So they gave him a big pay raise, and he kept on for another year. And that happened again for another year. Awesome guy, does a great job. They offered him another pay raise this year, and even fewer hours. Since he's old, he wants to retire. And he said no. And it's not because he had enough money. It's because he was worried about lawsuits, what the kids that are undergoing now on the school buses. It used to be back, like, if you'd act up or, say something untoward towards the school bus driver, disrupting their ability to stay on the road, you could kick the kid off. It's like, being able to drive safely without disruptions is incredibly important. You got a school bus full of kids. Now the kids are getting away with anything and everything. They're disrupting the school bus driver and cussing. Of course, I know this is not about the teacher right now. I'm getting to that. But he's so worried, even though he's under the net of protection by lawyers, he's still afraid of lawsuits. And the whole thing had gotten really, really bad. This particular school that I'd heard about, and it's a small town, relatively small town, the teachers are quitting left and right because the teachers, the ones that have half a conscience, are not willing to put up with, all the demonic filth that is going on. And I'm not just talking about from the top down, from the unions. And by the way, as someone that lived in the Soviet Union for a considerable amount of time and knows about communism, so on and so forth, yeah, I know exactly what a union is. I don't care if you like unions or not, but unions are socialism. That's exactly what they are. Almost nothing good comes out of a union. Nothing. There's a few good things that come out of a union, but 90% of it are bad. I don't care if you agree on that or not. It's still a fact. I'm not talking about the stuff that's coming down from the unions, but the fact, which is bad enough, because the kids are not actually getting educated. Kids today don't know anything. But the teachers are quitting because they're not allowed to, send the kid out. They're not allowed to, because even back in the day, I'm not that old, they used to be able to kick a kid out if they kept disrupting the class, keep it disrupting it the teachers are quitting because the kids will like curse the teachers up one side and down the other, and they're not going to put up with that. And I absolutely have, I know there's a few good teachers out there, but there's not many. I have no love for teachers because most of them can't teach, they don't know anything, they don't care about their job, they're not inspiring. They're forced to follow a curriculum from the union, which of course, by the way, is evil. It's just hardcore, flat-out evil. Force these teachers to teach this stuff that is not an education at all. It's indoctrination. It's exactly, you know, oh man, it just reminds me so much of what they taught in the Soviet schools. And by the way, I did attend for a brief period of time very early in life school in Russia's Vladimirsky Polytechnic Institute. Vladimir, 130 kilometers на север с Москвы, 130 kilometers northeast of Moscow. I actually do know a lot about Soviet schools. It just reminds me so much of what used to transpire there. These kids, all the evil that we're seeing, and I don't need to mention specifics, you know exactly the specifics, the evils that are going on in schools, you know, like what just recently happened. All of these little demons, and of course I know there's messed up minds out there, obviously so. These demons are coming out of the public school system. You know, doesn't matter, there's no excuse to do anything horrific because a kid was, treated bad and put down. So, but these public schools are just breeding grounds. They're just breeding grounds of filth. Private schools are not much better. Kids, by the way, are pretty freaking evil. I mean, they really are. Fundamentally, no. But the ones that go there, they remind me of chickens. I had a couple chicken farmers last time I mentioned this say it's not true, and I know it is true. We're talking about mass breeding chicken farms where you have all these little chicks together. When they hatch, they have this little thing called an egg tooth. It's meant for pecking through the egg. You know, little chickens have beaks, obviously, so no tooth. They call it an egg tooth, I believe. And when these little chicks are hatched, you know, they clip that little beak off so they have the highest yield of chicks that don't perish because these little chicks are so tight in together they start pecking each other to death, literally. And schools are exactly like this. Children are not meant to undergo that sort of filth in school, and the teachers can't intervene, and also the teachers can't even intervene on their own regard, as bad as they are, 95% of them, 98% really, because they're forced to follow a curriculum, and the curriculum, of course, is trash. The teachers themselves are not actual genuine teachers, but they're also too forced to endure all this, you know, hatefulness and evil from the children. Back then, they just ban you from school. They punish you for a week, and, you know, twice again, it's like, we're not going to put up with this garbage. You know, you're banned from school. Now it's like basically impossible to get a child banned from school. Talk about nature versus nurture. All of these demons are coming out of public school system. Teachers' unions are fundamentally evil. I mean, they're hardcore fundamentally evil. I mean, of all the horrible things that have happened to me in life, you know, public school is easily the worst. I knew it was, but I had the gift of wisdom and insight to know these teachers were all fools. I didn't listen to them. I didn't obey them. You know, I didn't disrupt the class or anything. There were a few times when I told the teacher, you're a fool. This is just not true. And actually, every time I remember doing that, I remember they respected me because I knew I was smarter than them, and I was, and still am, of course. But these are not places of learning. The most important thing a child has is this burning desire to learn and know and explore. And it's supposed to be wondrous and beautiful. And they burn it right out of a kid. Unfortunately, the parents are wage slaves. And they're, of course, forced to go to work. And they use these public school systems as daycare centers. And I pay property taxes. I think I pay too much in property taxes. And most of my property tax bill goes to these rotten little evil hellholes that we call public school system. Learning is not going on there. Burning what is wholesome out of a child is what's going on there. Indoctrinating them in filth and trash and garbage is in there. Making them memorize garbage and filth, and it is the opposite of an education, and these people are not teachers. I know there's far, far less than 1% of good teachers. Okay, I know they exist out there, but they essentially don't exist. When you're talking about 1% or less, I'm sorry, they just don't exist. They're just teaching trash and nonsense now. Talk about nature versus nurture. I've never heard of like a homeschooled kid that like turned into a rotten apple. I'm sure there might be one or two out there. I mean, it's just rotten to the core, kids with messed up minds, and they probably still got it by going online and listening to groupthink. I mean, just what a horrible thing. One of the horrible thing to do to a kid is to have them go to a public or even a private school. It's not an education. Kids need tools to think, to problem solve, to learn how to think. Memorization and have them memorize garbage that they're never ever going to use is not important. It's like, what's the capital of Nebraska? Who cares? Everybody now has an iPad or an iPhone. You could Google that stuff. Imagine the countless thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of hours the kids waste memorizing garbage that they can pull up on their phone. I'm not condoning ignorance by any means. I'm saying that time is short. Life is short. Memorizing garbage that you can Google on your cell phone, no. Give kids the tools to think and to reason, to problem solve, know how to build stuff, know how to fix stuff, know how to do stuff. Give them an education in problem solving. Start them out with chess. Not that I'm ever for playing games. I don't play video games, not a game player, but it actually is really, really good for thinking several steps ahead. It is very, very good for developing the brain for that. Once they actually master that to a certain degree, you can put that aside. They got the skill, don't need to play chess anymore. So that really shouldn't be considered, for any kid's future unless they enjoy, playing chess with, a friend of theirs or, a brother or sister or something. Well, these schools are creating all the little messed up demons. They really are. And I know all the ways that they're twisting them and just turning them bad. They are turning them bad. The one great thing that's happening right now is that the wave, an enormous wave, because thankfully America is not like Europe. I don't know if Australia and New Zealand, have this evil nonsense going on where it's like illegal to homeschool your kid. They probably do. But America does not have that filth, I have never met a stupid homeschooled kid. They're always just the opposite. They are way more intelligent than the kids that go to public school or college. Way, way more intelligent. Everyone, invariably, sharp as a tack, and they have not had the desire to learn and explore burned out of them, which is what these schools do. I mean, just the greatest, most horrible evil imaginable. There are things, of course, infinitely more evil, but in general speaking, all these kids are they're so messed up, they're so disrespectful. I get why these kids are not the ones that do the really demonic stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the general school kid that is just so incredibly messed up. Depressed, stressed out. I mean, that shouldn't be happening to kids, or even up to a college kid. It shouldn't. A college kid, if he wants to become a doctor or a lawyer, I know they're stressed out because they're cramming to know a lot of stuff. I get that. By the way, nobody should go to college unless you're going to become like an electrician, a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse. That's all college should ever exist there for. Everything else in college is just a waste of time and money. Shouldn't go there for that. It's like, I want to become a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, an electrician, a structural engineer. Fine, go to college for that. Everything else in college that 90% of the people go there for, total waste. It's just a money-grubbing black hole to suck in money like a vacuum from, I need a college education. It's like, no, you don't. The reason why America can't build really cool stuff anymore, like even this frigging pencil. This is from Germany. It's got 4 colors on the end of it. Yeah. America can't even build this freaking pencil. All the really cool stuff comes from, Americans are like this when it comes to something made in Deutschland or der Österreich, Austria. My favorite tool is from Austria. We love this stuff because these people are not brainwashed with the idea that they need to go to college. You know, they learn how to use a slide rule and a calculator, and you know, they're taught on CNC machines, and they take pride in manufacture. We love stuff made in Switzerland and Austria and Germany, don't we? Yeah, we do. It's not that America can't do that. It's that Americans get brainwashed. You need to go to college for a better education. It's like, no, you don't. That's where you get drained of all your money, and you end up with college debt, and you end up, you know, getting a major in English studies, which is no good. Nobody cares about it. I got a degree in English studies. Who cares? You can't do the job. I don't care if you got a postgraduate degree in, you know, studies. It's crazy. Americans really are brainwashed with that garbage. I spent years in college too. Total waste. The only thing that was not wasteful about college was the wonderful university library that's there. And I spent enormous amounts of time there, quickly finding the really, really good stuff and being self-taught in a superior education. Superior education is not about memorization and regurgitation. The superior education is about the processing tools to comprehend, to dissect, to understand, to abduce, i.e. abduction, and retroduction, which is a genuine Platonic education. Kids don't get that today. Everything wholesome gets burned out of them, and everything evil and dirty gets put into them. If you want a synopsis of what's wrong with American schools, there's a million things. But everything that's good gets burned out of them, and everything that's bad gets put into them. This is why kids are stressed out, depressed, you know, popping psychiatric meds. No, like, healthy young kid should be popping pills like some 80-year-old grandma on a rocker in the old folks' home. That's just ridiculous. You know where the demons come out of? Like 90% of the demons by demon kids, yeah? 98% actually, demon kids come in. Public school system and pharmacology. In other words, they're, you know, some Dr. Bada Bing is prescribed pill boom, boom, and boom, and they're stressed out at their evil school or college, you know, to memorize garbage A, B, and C while everything that's wholesome in them, it gets burned out. It's a recipe for disaster. The evils of school that puts everything bad into them and takes everything good out of them, combined with the evil pharmacology that has healthy young individuals taking every form of... My buddy went on a Girl Scout hike, you know, to teach him about the woods. Yeah. And I think they were like pre-teens. And when they were at the campfire, they're doing the marshmallow thing. My buddy said he got the shock of his life. All these preteen Girl Scouts whipped out the you know, like the little pill things that say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like old folks, preteens, collectively all whipping out the psychiatric medication. Cuckoo, cuckoo, which they didn't need. Like old people. Now, if you showed that to somebody from like 50 years ago or 100 years ago, this year the world's gone crazy. You got healthy young individuals, preteens, popping meds like their great granny in the old folks' home, you know, who needs her. It's ridiculous. Those two things combined create the perfect storm of all the evils that we see today, at least 95+% of it. That's not my opinion, that's a fact. I have no kids of my own. I wish I did, but if I did, I surely wouldn't send them to homeschool. And people say, I'm broke, I can't afford to homeschool. Sure you can. You can't afford not to. Because other thing that these schools do is they teach animosity towards your parents. Like, you're another product of the state. You belong to the state. That sort of socialistic mindset. Oh, Lordy. Talk about pure evil. And so people think that teens rebel against their parents because, well, they're just a teenager. That is a lie. I thought that for half of my life. Like, that's just normal. That's just teenage behavior. You're rebelling. against your parents. No. It's because they've been so trashed and brainwashed by the public school system that that's the end product. The homeschool kids aren't like that, most of them. But most of the public school system kids are like that. Tells you everything you need to know. I would never, ever, if I had kids, and I don't, would never, ever let them go to a public school or even a private school system. Never, ever. There's nothing good there. Every homeschool kid that I know is way, way, way more intelligent and wiser, importantly, than public school kids. Every one of them. Those kids have never been graded. They've been corrected. This is not right. Go learn why this is not the correct answer. You know, they didn't have to like stress and worry about, oh my God, I got a D in trigonometry. Who cares? You're ever going to use that? Okay, 1 person in a billion might use trig. I got a D in trig. Oh no, I'm going to go home and worry. Man, life is too short to... That's half the reason, actually it's most of the reason, in the United States, this world is so messed up. Byproduct of public school. Some people do great, like me, in spite of it, because I knew these people were fools to begin with. Always have known. Even at an early age, I knew they were fools. I told some of them, you're a fool. That's not right, and here's the reason why. Boom, 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 boom. Schools hate intelligent and wise people. They hate them. They think they're smart Alex. Those who can't, teach. Because schools play whack-a-mole. You know what whack-a-mole is, the game whack-a-mole? Like if a little mole rises its head up, you go whack it. Wham! This is what happened. I'm laughing, but it's not funny. Whack-a-mole is like a kid that's really smart or really wise or both. All the school system is designed to do is play whack-a-mole. Boom! How dare you be smart and intelligent and tell me I don't know what I'm doing even though I don't know what I'm doing. They hit you on the head with it. That, girlfriend, is the definition of evil and ignorance. And that's exactly what's at the heart of public school system. Did I mention how evil school unions are? Thanks for watching. This was a rant, but it was an accurate rant.